over 110,000 advisors are expected to exit the financial services space by 2035. And the problem isn't that advisors are leaving, that's a big problem, but not nearly as big of a problem as AI is completely changing the game for advisors who stay. So how can newer advisors succeed with AI? In today's video, I'm gonna share with you 4 key decisions that you can make right now, especially as a newer advisor, to stand out as a preeminent expert, to build your book, and future-proof your advisory business to compete with AI. Hi, I'm Jon Cook, founder of Keynote Content, helping you speak with conviction and scale your message in a smart, responsible way. And if you're a financial advisor who's wondering, how do I stand out with all this AI noise? This video is for you. And this is also the part where you wonder, do I have any credibility to talk about? Well, I personally worked with over 300 advisors one-on-one over the past 7 years, helping them craft their messages, helping them stand out to more of the right investors and get in front of larger audiences. And there's a reason why you clicked on this video. You're likely either a newer advisor or you have at least one or two, maybe several newer advisors inside your business who are all wondering, will there be a future for me in the financial space? Especially with this tidal wave of AI, will I be able to compete with AI as an advisor? So let's get practical. I'm gonna give you 4 clear steps. No hype, just what works. And the reality is that investor trust is at an all-time low right now. We are living in what I'm calling a trust recession across virtually every industry, and that includes the advisory space. And it's not because newer advisors lack credentials. I meet newer advisors every day who have a stellar cross-section of credentials and education and expertise. That's not the reason. It's also not because newer advisors that they just don't care enough, and they don't care like the old guard does. Again, this same group is led by incredibly thoughtful and caring advisors. I meet some of the most caring advisors that I've met have been in the industry less than 2 years. You might be thinking, oh, it's because we're newer, we don't have enough experience yet. Well, that may be the case, as it might be in a couple different situations. But I'm seeing first-year advisors who are absolutely winning with investors and seeing a wide range of opportunities because they are showing up in a different way, regardless of their age or their experience level. No, the reason why investor trust is at an all-time low is that trust doesn't come easily anymore. See, you're not just competing with other advisors now, you're competing with algorithms, with these stonk bros on social media, with these advisor fluencers who are taking screenshots in front of Lambos and whatnot and are saying all sorts of things about meme coins and crypto and all these other things. And you can do self-managed and pre-approved scripts and templated advice that sounds polished, but it actually says nothing. Because for every advisor who says, oh, I can help you with your investments, the reality is that there's now an app or an AI for that. So where does that leave you as an advisor? Let me be very clear. I am a massive supporter of advisors, and I believe that advisors are needed now more than ever. But in the same breath, we can also say most, if not all, of your technical expertise as an advisor, I call that the science side of what you do for investors, most, if not all of that, will be replaced by AI agents in the next 5 years. And I believe being a financial advisor is part science and part art. The science part, we already talked about the technical expertise, but the art part is your relational expertise. If the science side of what you do, the science part, is the financial planning, the trading, the portfolio management, the asset allocation, all that, if it's going to be handled by AI in the near future, where's the opportunity? The art side of what you do. What will set you apart as an advisor in an AI world? How well you communicate, how well you connect with people on a human-to-human level. How well you can articulate your purpose and your perspective, your process, and your personality in a deeply profound way. And that's why right now I'm going to share 4 powerful ways that newer advisors can build trust faster and communicate with greater clarity, authority, and connection. So whether you're early in your career or you're building your second act, this will give you the tools to stand out in a noisy marketplace. If you want to stand out as an advisor in an AI world, the first thing you want to do is study great communicators. Some of the best communicators that I've ever studied would never just call themselves public speakers. And this is one of the most overlooked truths that I see with advisors is when it comes to communication, your best communication coaches aren't in finance. They're magicians, they're stand-up comedians, they're panel moderators, they're even gamers and other types of live streamers. These people know how to own the room. They manage attention and energy. They day trade your attention, and they have that timing better than anyone else in their space. Magicians teach us about focus and clarity and setting up the wonder of what your audience wants to experience. Think about comedians. They master the setup and the payoff, and they do it in such a masterful, artistic way. But then streamers, you might be thinking, that's Jon, why would I as a financial advisor want to learn from a streamer? They keep people engaged for hours live with little to no breaks, and they do it with such ease and confidence. And if you want to become a better communicator as an advisor, learn from those who know how to hold people's attention. One of the best communication tips that I give to financial advisors is to study how performers hold attention. Not just what they say, but how they say it. Because don't just watch them for entertainment, watch them for structure. How does that comedian set up the joke? What is the exact wording that he uses to set up the joke? How does that exact magician, how does she set up for that transition into the wow moment for their audience? Watch how they transition, watch how they read the audience, watch how they bring the room with them, because communication is the game. And if you want to win trust, if you want to learn from the best, even if they're outside your industry, go to those industries. Even if it's an industry or people that you would normally not even put your attention and focus towards, they can likely teach you something about communication if they hold attention well. If you want to stand out as a financial advisor in an AI world, the second thing you need to do is you want to create long-form original content. Humans want to communicate with humans. I think of the poet Yeats. He said, "Think like a wise man, but communicate in the language of the people." And that's the difference between noise and resonance. This one concept, if you can really wrap your mind around this one concept, it can 10x your credibility in only 10 minutes a week. Because most advisors, they post the same vanilla, boring content. It says how to beat inflation, or 5 ways to save on taxes, or what's the difference between our traditional IRA and a Roth. Snore fest, that's a huge snooze fest. There's nothing wrong with those topics per se, but the voice and the level of advice is generic. It's forgettable, it's just more noise. If you want to build greater trust and stand out more to investors, create long-form original content by sitting your butt down in front of a camera and record a 10-minute video just talking about a specific part of what you do. Share your perspective, talk about traps to avoid, keep details you need to keep in mind, FAQs that investors typically ask you about that topic, and if as much as possible, include real life stories. Of course, change the names to protect the privacy, but give real life insight. Long form content, this is your secret weapon to building trust as an advisor, especially when your content strategy is rooted in perspective and not just perfection, or just trying to get it out there that it's already perfectly approved and compliant and it's pre-approved. That doesn't change lives. And it's okay if your content isn't perfectly scripted or polished or even professionally produced. Create at least, if you're going to start with a 10-minute piece of content, create at least an outline of what do you want to say, hit record, and then talk to the camera like a human being. Then you can hire an editor who's talented and able to make your content look and sound great. Because it's not hard to make a short post on LinkedIn or even post a 60-second soundbite. It takes a lot more guts to show your expertise and humanity by sharing longer, more organic content. Cut the fluff. Just go deeper with your content. Post a 10-minute video on what that new tax ruling actually means for small business owners, or record a podcast episode on what your clients are actually asking you about this month. Long form content, it builds depth, and depth builds trust. Let people hear how you think. Let them see your perspective, because that's when they'll start paying more attention. And the people who pay more attention are the ones who will eventually pay more. Speaking of sharing longer content, if you want to build trust with your audience, the third thing you need to do is to get on stage in front of a live audience. This is the trust accelerator that no algorithm can replicate for an advisor, because there's no filter on stage. There's no script, there's no second takes. And that's why public speaking is still one of the fastest ways to build trust and credibility as an advisor. When you stand in front of a room and you share your perspective, whether it's at a chamber meeting, at a luncheon, at a local class, a conference, you show people 3 details. First, you know your stuff. You either know it or you don't, and there's not much faking it there. And for the record, don't fake it, just make it. Second thing it shows is that it shows that you care. The third thing it does is that it shows you're credible. Because Speaking isn't just about the spotlight, it's about creating these share the air type of moments. And that builds instant rapport if you get to be in the same room with your ideal audience. If you want to accelerate trust as an advisor, start speaking at in-person events. You don't have to be perfect, just get up and talk about what are you passionate about in the financial space, and let the room afterwards be able to show here's what they thought about your content. The fourth thing that you need to do as a financial advisor if you want to stand out with AI is that you need to speak with conviction. Too many advisors, they're afraid to say, what do you actually think? And the default is to share compliance-safe language that's already pre-approved, that's technically accurate, but it is emotionally strip-mined. There's no personality, there's no heart, there's no conviction behind what you're sharing when you just put your logo on it that's from this pre-approved library, you send it out and nobody reads it, not even your mother, and if she says she does, she's just being nice. But I want to be absolutely clear. I do not and will not encourage any advisor to say anything that will jeopardize their credentials or their licenses. That's not smart. That's not responsible. So what do I encourage advisors to do? Be boldly responsible with how you talk about what you do. Clients aren't looking for more information. They're looking for someone with a point of view. They're craving your perspective. When markets get messy, they want to know, what does my advisor, what do you actually believe is happening in the marketplace? How will this impact me? There's a reason why I hired you as my advisor. What can you tell me about what I want to know about what's happening in the financial space? That starts with conviction. And conviction doesn't mean shouting. It means speaking the truth clearly, boldly, and with a high give a darn factor. And if you're afraid to take a stand, if you're afraid to speak with conviction, you'll never build the trust that you're capable of earning. But there's a reason why you're watching this. Because I believe that you are somebody who wants to speak from that deep in your guts type of belief, saying this is why I became an advisor, this is what I know to be true, and this is what I believe to be true. That's why I keep showing up every single day as an advisor. Conviction is what cuts through the noise. If you're a newer advisor who's looking to fast track your trust, don't wait 5 years to do it. Start now. Start by studying great communicators. Create long form content. Get on stage and share the air with your audience and speak with conviction. These 4 habits will change how people see you and how much they trust you as an advisor. If you like what I shared today, please give us a thumbs up and hit subscribe to catch more of my videos about how to speak with conviction and scale your message in a smart, responsible way. Now, one of the best ways to leverage AI as a newer advisor is to create a custom AI assistant that can support you as a digital thought partner. Think of this as like your own Jarvis that can help support you with getting your message out to the right audience. Once you have a solid way of talking about your expertise, how you talk about what you do as an advisor, you can leverage AI to scale your trust and your message. So how do you do that? Well, I created a video about why every financial advisor, investment advisor, retirement advisor, whatever your broker dealer allows you to call yourself, I created a video about why you need a custom AI assistant. So hit play on this next video, and I'll see you on the other side.